Good morning, Facebook. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. However you're catching us. Good morning. Hello. It is Monday. Let's say the 17th, August 17th. Just want to go over to my computer here in case I get any comments. I can respond properly. Let's see. So, I want to talk about a few things this morning. I have not been on Facebook Live for a few days. I apologize. Jamie hasn't been on either. We've been super busy here at the restaurant, which is fantastic news. Really fantastic news. So our lobster bakes are super popular. Our outdoor dining, patio dining, the street dining is really going very well. The title of this video is an event that I can't promote. So I can tell you about it, I just can't really promote it because we're sold out on it. So every other Monday we do these amazing wine tastings. It's not like we used to. It's a totally new format of wine tastings. If you're a wine fan, by the way, if you love wine, if you drink wine, just drop a comment, say yes, love wine, or tell us about your favorite wine. Just drop us a comment on wine. Yes, frozen salmon is still available. Frozen salmon is still available. We have it. It is here. So thanks for asking that, Cosmo. We appreciate that. Yep. In fact, we're going to talk about what's behind me right now. That's Reggiano, Parmesan Reggiano right there. That's on sale this week here at the restaurant. We're going to talk about that. Got a lot of people joining in now, so thank you, everybody. So tonight we have a really great event. We're doing this wine tasting. I can't promote it because we're sold out. We're actually sold out. We do these wine tastings every other Monday where we do 4 wines and a dish for $25 and they become super popular. Tonight, we're doing the wines of Botramagno. Botramagno is a vineyard in southern Italy, in Apulia. That's where our next trip is. In fact, Benamino, the owner of Botramagno, is on right now watching this live. So hello. Hello, Benamino. I hope everything is well. Him and I have been chatting a lot lately. Sending messages. We're going to his winery next April. That trip is almost sold out. We have 2 spots left for our Italy trip in April. There's a possibility. Now, we have 20 more people that say they're going. We just don't have money from them. So once we get a deposit, then we can count you as an official yes. We have like 2 spots left. If all 20 other people want to go, we can consider doing 2 trips, 1 week and then 1 week later, back to back. We could have done that last year to Tuscany easily. We could have done 2 trips back to back, and we didn't do it just because we didn't know. But with the growing popularity of our trips are amazing. We get really rave reviews on our trips to Italy, and people want to travel now. People are like, I want to travel. Life is short. I'm tired of I haven't seen a lot of things or whatever. I want to go to Italy. I want to go back to Italy. Let's get this COVID mess behind us and rock and roll and travel. That's a lot of people's attitude. So let's see. So right behind me is Reggiano. Reggiano Parmesan is a cheese from Italy that comes from the Parma region only. I'm going to talk about a couple different facts of Reggiano versus Grana. Grana is another type of cheese, a hard cheese that comes from Italy. It's almost half the price, by the way, Grana. There's a reason for that, and I'll explain that now. So, this week only, that cheese right there. I took that picture, by the way. That was on one of our trips when Jamie and I went and took the kids 5 years ago or so. We went to a very small Reggiano producer and ager, because the person who usually makes those wheels of cheese is not the person who typically ages them out. They do age them, but the big consolidation companies are the ones that actually buy them from the small guys, and then they warehouse them. This cheese right here takes 12 months minimum to wait, 12 to make. 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. We've even had 60-month Reggiano here. The longer you age Reggiano, of course, it's going to shrink a little bit, moisture goes out of it, but the flavor intensifies. And we've had 5-year Reggiano here before. Now, it's never going to say on that label how old the cheese is. It'll say Vecchio or Extra Vecchio, meaning, it's 18 months or 24. I think Extra Vecchio would be 24 months. but it's minimum 12 months. That's a minimum 12-month process. And the standards are so strict for the consortium, how they regulate the cheese and they taste test, and so we actually saw some of the members there actually testing the cheese on our day there. Same thing when we did a balsamic vinegar tour. The actual consortium, actually one of the people from the inspection agency and the consortium actually led our tour on balsamic vinegar, which is right near here. This area of Italy, in Parma, Emilia-Romagna, Modena, Viola, is super, super rich in Italian foods. I think they have like 45 inspected and certified foods. So in Italy, it's a little different than here in the US and in other countries. Each region is known for something very specific, and the government wants to protect that product right there and the other products. So prosciutto di Parma, same exact concept. These things are certified from these exact regions in Italy, so nobody can make their own version and misrepresent the product and just say we have this and that. Italians really take pride in what they're producing, and they want to make sure that if anybody takes on producing things like that there in Italy, that it has to meet very, very specific specifications. So they do a lot of testing. We were there the day they were going through and knocking the wheels and pulling wheels aside, and if you take the prod and you stick it in, you twist a piece out and taste it. I think they said about 10%, 8% of these cheeses never actually make it to market because they don't pass the inspections. In the 12-month process of aging this cheese, anything can go wrong. Bacteria, anything can go wrong with that. And so they're not allowed to sell it with the Reggiano label on it. So if you look at those closely, these wheels are stamped. Those wheels go in molds and they're stamped. And you see the DOP right there? That is the consortium. Let's see if I can get my finger there correctly. That's a little tricky. Right there. Okay, there we go. So this means it's a regulated food. And you can see Reggiano is written up and down the wheels. Those are 86-pound blocks, by the way. 86-pound wheels of cheese. If you were to go buy those in a store, Walmart, I found Walmart had a particular brand that we know because we actually toured the Zanetti plant as well. We toured a couple different places when we were there. Zanetti is one of the consolidation plants, family owned. The son gave us a tour, family business. The local Walmart here has 5 in stock. I looked up this morning. Actually, Monticello has 5 of the Zanetti brand Reggianos in stock, and they're $1 an ounce, so they're $16 a pound. We typically sell our Reggiano for $12.99 a pound. This week only, $10.99 a pound. We're blowing out Reggiano. I stocked up this last Friday. I got extra Reggiano in. We go through a lot anyway at $12.99 a pound, which is again a really amazing price. Everybody who buys it from us is like, this is the best price going, Marcus. Best price going. We have Reggiano aficionados that come visit us all the time and buy cheese, and they're like, I don't know how you're doing it at $12.99, but it's amazing. So because we're buying so much, we were able to cut a deal this week, and we're going to blow it out for $10.99 a pound. You're not taking home an 86-pound wheel of cheese. You're taking home a wedge. It's about 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of. We buy them in halves and quarters, and then we cut them with a big knife with 2 handles on each side, and we cryovac them. This cheese, and we're going to send an email out later today. We're telling people this cheese here, stock up on it. It'll last a year in your refrigerator, properly wrapped. It'll definitely last. It's already a year old. It's already been a year in the process of making that. And if you go online and do a Google search, you'll find some people will say 3 months, 6 months, but that'll last for up to a year. And people even say, even after the expiration date on the packages, they're still good for another 2 months after the expiration date. No problem whatsoever. What will harm that is getting it too moist, and like let's say you were to wrap it airtight and had water in the bag or something, or you wrapped it with a towel and it was too damp and got moist or liquid dripped on it, then you'd have a problem. You just need to cut that part off, shave it off. So $10.99 a pound all week long. The email's going out today. Our full grocery list is on our website, and in the email it's going out today. Avocados are on sale this week. And grass-fed cowboy steaks are back in-house. We just got them in on Friday. Those were the steaks that come frozen. They're 24 to 26 ounce short bone cowboy steaks, $19.99 a pound. That is an amazing deal as well. If you go on and try to buy anything of that quality, you're going to pay $30 a pound easily. for that 25, 30 bucks a pound for those bone-in cowboy steaks like that. It's a short bone, so it's not the tomahawk with a really long bone. So you're getting more meat versus bone. Some of those tomahawks, that long bone is counted, the bone's counted in as a weight. So those are back in stock. Those are very limited. I only have like 25, 24 of those steaks we only have in. And they come frozen. We sell them to you frozen, and that's how that works. We do have a lot more grass-fed ribeye steaks in. On Friday, we stocked up on a lot of stuff on Friday here. A lot of stuff as far as meat-wise. Fish, too. There was a question in the beginning of this, do we have fish? We still have fish. We have frozen salmon, wild salmon, frozen halibut, sablefish, frozen sablefish. We have our shrimp, our calamari, mahi-mahi, that's line caught from Ecuador. So we're fully stocked. We are still going to be doing our grocery sales into the fall and into the winter. It's been a major part of our business here. Be able to sell you all kinds of things. Now tonight, the neat thing about tonight's wine tasting is the wines, the 4 wines that you taste are available for sale because we're now allowed to sell you alcohol to go. The way they adjust the rules for COVID was, I can literally, you have to buy food. You have to buy food is the one rule. But you can literally buy like a burger, a steak, whatever, and buy like, literally like if you wanted to order like 15 margaritas, you could do that. The state is allowing us to do that. So if you wanted to buy wine, last wine event last week, we sold 7 cases of wine. We actually ran out of one of the wines. We could have sold much more. So we're stocked up again this week. I'm really not supposed to be promoting the wine dinner tonight. The wine, it's not even a dinner. It's a tasting plus a dish. A tasting plus a dish, $25. We're sold out, but we're going to be doing one in 2 more weeks again. We'll be doing one. I'm not sure quite what vineyard we're going to be doing, but it's going to be one of the vineyards that we will be visiting in April. We're probably going to do something from a little further south from Andoria. Probably, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. I don't want to announce yet what we're going to be doing. I kind of have an idea what we'll be doing as I'm talking now. Just want to make sure we have enough wine from them or can get enough wine from them. It's always balancing out a white, a red, a rosé, and something else. This is going to be one of the first wine events that we're doing where we're heavier on whites. We're doing 2 whites tonight, a rosé and 1 red. Usually it's 1 white, 1 rosé, and 2 reds. So this is a white heavy, or more whites than reds tonight. And all 4 wines, again, of course, are available. So another question is, are you doing takeout and groceries tonight? Yes, you can get takeout. You can get anything off of our menu tonight. Lobster rolls, burgers, cooks, all that. Plus, if you wanted to, as well as order grocery items, you can do that. That's what a lot of people do. A lot of people walk in the door that are buying a burger to go, and they walk in, they're like, oh, yeah, I need a bottle of wine, or I need a bottle of vodka, or yeah, I need fresh orange juice, I need apples, I need pears, I need yeast. So all that's on display here in the restaurant. We have racks and racks of stuff here as you walk in the door. So we always encourage you, if you're comfortable coming in, please come in. We don't seat anybody in the restaurant, so the restaurant doesn't have anybody in it. And if you see on the weekends, I work out front, and I'm the one out there shucking the oysters and cooking the lobsters right at the front door. I will take a peek in and make sure, and send people in. If the restaurant has, if 4 people just walked in, I'll hold you off and then say, just give us a moment and somebody will get with you or this, that. But the protocol is, if you're making a reservation and you're coming in on the weekends, you walk in the front door, I'll send one person in your party in to go to the bar in the middle to talk to Courtney or Jamie or whoever's working the bar. Then they get situated. We have a lot of tables outside, out back, that are socially distanced. We have our 2 tables up front, and then the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, 4 to 9, we then put up more tables in the streets. The village has closed off the streets for us and allowed us, they've allowed us to put tables out there and register with the liquor authority and all that kind of stuff to make it perfectly legal out there. So that's the one big benefit from COVID is we can actually sell you a bunch of things. If you're watching live, by the way, folks, just drop a comment, #live. Hi, Steve. Hi, Sally. So I see Susan on. Chrissy, I miss your wine dinners. Tried so many, and otherwise can't until the madness passes. Happens again. Thank you, Chrissy. Appreciate that. if you are watching, just again, drop a comment, hashtag live, or on the replay. We've got a bunch of people on. So let's just talk a little bit more about the Reggiano. There's some fun, interesting facts about Reggiano. So Reggiano is made in a very small region in Italy. It's made in the Parma region, Reggiano Parmigiano in the Parma region. So we're talking Emilia-Romagna, which is just on the opposite side of Tuscany, to the east of Tuscany, over the mountain range there. So that cheese right there is made from 2 different types of fresh cow's milk. Every single night, the cows get milk 365 days a year. Like if you're making cheese, if you're the cheese maker, there's no shutting down a Reggiano cheese making. This is what you have to do. So at night, fresh milk comes in at night from the cows. What happens is when it sits in the tank, it separates. So they skim the milk, separate the milk and the cream. Then the next morning, that happens overnight. That process happens overnight. So in the morning they skim it. Then fresh milk comes from the cows that morning. So they mix the skimmed milk with fresh milk. It has to be 2 batches of milk. Fresh that morning and fresh the night before. 1 skimmed, 1 whole. And that's their formula for this cheese. Then it goes into these copper vats, and they add the enzyme to start making this. They scald it, they cook it, they add the enzyme. And then Jamie and I sat there and watched a group of guys do this. It was really fascinating. And then they put the net in there and they move it around, they curdle it curdles, and they grab it up, and then they put it in these molds and immediately drop it into a brine, into a water brine. The one thing that makes this cheese more expensive than Grana, because a lot of people say, oh, Grana, is like Parmesan. It's a hard, but you cannot call it Parmesan by law. But it's similar. Parmesan is the benchmark for all grating cheeses, for all dried grating cheeses. Parmesan Reggiano is the benchmark. So people often refer to other cheeses as Parmesan. Now in the U.S., the U.S. does no trademark protection against that cheese right there, or any of the other products that come in from Italy into the U.S. But if we export a product, we make sure we go after our trademark rights. But importing stuff, because what happens is, because the term Parmesan gets thrown around very loosely. In Italy, it does not get thrown around loosely at all. But in the U.S., it gets thrown around loosely. So you can have companies like Kraft totally make a version that is not even nothing like this and call it Parmesan. If that was in Italy, they would not allow that at all. And this is the reason why they have these agencies, these government agencies, to go around and inspect. So in America, we just inspect for safety, so-called inspect for safety, USDA inspector, whatever. But like, you can have 300 different producers in the U.S. making quote-unquote Parmesan, and you think you're eating Parmesan your whole life, and it's not even close to being what Parmesan is, the Reggiano Parmesan. Because we just don't enforce copyrights of other countries' products. For them to really make us think about it, they would have to get their attorneys on it and then go after U.S. companies, which I still don't know how well that would work. Champagne has done it very successfully. Champagne has kept that word champagne off of sparkling wine that's not been made from Champagne, France. So Champagne has done it very successfully. They have an attorney team, and they go around, they fight their trademark all over the world. Kobe beef does not. Kobe beef, there's a lot of fake Kobe beef, imitation Kobe beef, things that you just refer to as Kobe beef. It's not Kobe beef. They don't send around attorneys like Champagne does. So it's really up to them to withhold their trademarks and really get aggressive with attorneys on this kind of stuff. Because there's a lot of American companies, Kraft and Belgioso, they are not making Parmesan like it's made here. So two milks they use. They curdle it. The vat, they have these copper vats. Now, if you're small, we were in a small place, there was only a dozen copper vats in this cheese making that we went to cheese producer in the morning. You're only allowed to use the vat once a day. That's it. So you can fire it up, that copper vat, it's lined with stainless steel, it's copper on the outside. You fire it up once a day, and then you shut production down, and that's it. You're not allowed to produce anymore. In Grana, you're allowed to keep producing, and Grana is a much larger region, by the way. Grana, you can make Grana in several different areas in Italy, going all the way up into Alto Adige and all the way down Some of the cities up there. I mean, you can really see lots of production. We were driving through Italy, northern Italy, a few years ago, and you saw all these grana producers all over the northern Italy, in a vast area. So grana, you can fire up that copper kettle over and over and over and make 3, 4, 5, 6 batches and keep turning it over and over. Reggiano, one time fire up and that's it. You make cheese for the day, and the cows, there's a very close connection of the cows that are only allowed to eat grass, by the way. They're only allowed to eat grass. And it has to be the cows from the countryside of where Reggiano comes from. And again, grana has more looser definitions, and they can cook much more, or make much more. So that's why if you go into a store and you'll see Reggiano versus grana, and sometimes the price is half, that's the reason. So again, Reggiano is the benchmark. You can use grana in place of a cheese like this. Is it the same? No, it's not the same. I was reading a food fraud book, maybe last year or the year before, and the author was very good at this. And he one of the first chapters, he talks about cheese, and he talks about going into one of Mario Batali's restaurants. And he asked the server, "Can I have some Reggiano?" And the server comes out, white glove on and shaver, and shaves Reggiano. And he goes, "Is that real Reggiano?" And the server goes, "Oh, yes." And that rind right there, that rind that's on there, would have shown what it was. So the author of the book, he was like, "Can I see that Reggiano? Can I see it?" And the waitress disappeared, ran off, and you could tell after a few minutes later they brought back another piece of cheese, which was not the piece that they were grating at the table. And they go, "Oh, here's the Reggiano." And he's like, "Well, that wasn't the cheese you just had in your hand." And of course, the cheese they were using was grana, not Reggiano, at half the price. So even some of the best restaurants out there misrepresent this product. So this is the good benchmark for grading cheeses. It's Parmesan. It's a real deal. It's on sale this week, $10.99. I know Chris just dropped a comment. They'll see us tonight for the wine dinner. Chris, they buy a lot of this cheese from us. So Chris will have plenty of this tonight. I'm sure you guys will want to stock up on this, especially at this price. Now, I told somebody that I was going to do, told somebody the price I was going to run on this, one of my salespeople, and they're like, "Marcus, that's like the most insane deal ever. Like that's like there's a lot of food distributors that can't even sell it for that price. That are selling it to more to restaurants." So again, we got a really great deal. We got a fantastic deal. We've been buying a lot of this cheese, just like the lobster tails that we got a great deal a couple weeks ago on. We had a big mishap with the lobster tails. We're trying to get more. We could not fulfill everybody's orders on the lobster tails. We had these 7-ounce tails. They were $21.99. A 7-ounce tail like that is typically $35 to $40 per pound. We had them blown out for $21.99. I literally bought one week like 150 pounds, and the next week I bought another 150, 160 pounds I bought the following week of these tails. We were blowing through them. Well, I didn't have enough room in our freezer space here, so I had to leave them. I told it was a buy and hold program. So a lot of distributors will do that, even wine distributors. You can, because we don't have enough storage, you can legitimately call a wine distributor and say, "I want to buy and hold," or if they offer that, or a food distributor, "I want to buy and hold," which means I'll pay now for it. I'll leverage my purchasing power right now, buy the 200 cases, but I can only take like 15, 20 cases at a time of a product. So some people will do that for you, buy and hold, and helps the distributor too, because then they get your money up front and they have more purchasing power. So we did a buy and hold program with the lobster tails, and their freezer broke down over the course of the weekend, and they lost a lot of products. And once something happens like that, even if the lobster tails were partially thawed and they would have been good, you file an insurance claim, and that's it. The company lost a lot of product, and in that buy and hold in their freezers was our buy and hold lobster tails. So we lost 80 pounds of lobster tails that we had paid for. We got our money back, of course. So we could not fulfill many, many, many lobster orders. And we apologize the next time we bought them or buying them now. The price has gone up, so we can't fulfill that again. We're hoping that we can get another round of good deal on lobster tails like that, because it was an insane deal. I mean, it was at $21.99. You couldn't even walk into Restaurant Depot, which is like the Walmart of food warehouses. You couldn't even walk into Restaurant Depot and, as a chef, as an owner of a restaurant, and pay. They're like $23 a pound, and they're smaller tails. You couldn't even get that kind of a deal from Restaurant Depot. But this is the advantage, and working in restaurants for years in country clubs. And I took my very first job as an executive chef when I was 24 in Colorado at the Woodmore Country Club. In my contract, it was in my contract that I had to sign a prime vendor contract with Cisco or US Foods at the time, or I think it was called Lion at the time. That's what was part of my job as being an executive chef. They wanted me to sign a prime vendor contract to save the most amount of money. Now, if you know Jamie at all, Jamie's father and their family has owned Fresquito Foods. So I had an inside on how to deal with distributors. And I never signed a prime vendor contract because I was able to negotiate prices with small independent distributors and get better pricing. All these distributors, certain distributors are part of buying groups. So you might be able to get garbanzo beans from one distributor for $30 a case, but you might be able to get them from another distributor for $18 a case. And you're like, well, what's the difference, and why is garbanzo beans in such a big despair, this price despair? Just because one distributor has better leveraging because the buying group they have has more power. So, and garbanzo beans are now $30 a case. I wish they were. We pay almost $65 a case for our organic garbanzo beans. We sell the cans here, by the way, of the organic garbanzo beans. We have Eden here, and we have Natural Selection. We have two different brands, but they're like $65 a case. So I would leverage certain distributors based upon their strong points, and it worked out really, really well. So I was able to convince the general manager there that, hey, if we avoid Cisco and US Foods or Lion Foods at the time, and Shamrock, I dealt a little bit of Shamrock, but I said, if I don't have to sign a prime vendor contract, because when you sign a prime vendor contract, they want like 85% of your business. That's the deal, 85% of your business, and then they give you supposedly the best deal out there, which is not. And I showed the GM that I could save money. And the same thing when we came to New York, when I got a job at Bonnie Breyer in Larchmont, in Mamaroneck and Larchmont. Again, in my contract was sign a prime vendor so we can save money. That's part of the contract, is you coming as an executive chef is meet a food cost and leverage a prime vendor contract, which means one distributor is going to deliver 85% of our foods. And I again said, no, let me get pricing for you. And I went to some independents down there like Ace Endico, and I went to some independents and McMahon's, and I got pricing for stuff. I went to Chef's Warehouse, I got pricing for stuff, and to the GM, and I said, here, if I were to sign a prime vendor contract, it's this much. If I can buy it, on a regular basis from this distributor, it's this much. And they were like, wow, we didn't really realize that. But again, because I had an inside information on how to buy and deal with food distributors. That's one of the things we teach in our academy, Restaurant Growth Secrets University, to our clients is how not to sign a prime vendor contract, and breaking that down to sales costs, landed costs, all these kinds of different costs, so chefs understand the difference in these. And a lot of chefs don't realize, they think that you can save money, you can save time definitely by buying from one distributor, but it's not saving money, and it's not getting a high quality product. So we can buy higher quality products at a better price. So that's what we're doing with this cheese right now. We're able to leverage a distributor that is very, very, very strong, that imports the cheese themselves, not buying it from somebody else, right? So there's different levels of distribution. So our olives, we buy olives from the biggest olive importer, still an independently family-owned company, but they're one of the largest olive importers in the country. And when you buy from people like that, you're able to get the best deals and pass those on and get really great ingredients. So if anybody wants Reggiano, I would suggest you email an order in, info@aromatimebistro.com. Look at our grocery list. An email will be going out soon. As soon as I get off this live, I'm going to hit send on our email list, as long as I didn't make any spelling mistakes. I'm one that's known to misspell words sometimes, so it's never Jamie, it's me if you get an email or the website. Sorry for any misspelled words. I like to make a joke about it. I'm a better chef than I am speller. Let's see. So that email is going to go out, info@romantimebistro.com. It's $10.99 a pound. They're about 1.5 pound increments, 2 pounds. We have these big blocks in that we're going to start cutting today with the special cheese knife that has 2 handles on it. And the reason why it has 2 handles on it, because you need to leverage and push down on hard cheeses like this. You'd never want to have push down on a handle and push down on a blade, because if it flips and your hand goes underneath it, your fingers will not be in good shape. So special double-handed knife to press down on. Let's see. So that's with that. If anybody else has any comments right now or questions, I can answer them. If not, I'm going to get going. Chris says, definitely getting more cheese at that price. It's a no-brainer. So I see Vicky on now. Hi, Vicky. And everybody else is on. I see Dean on. And again, tonight's event is all sold out. It's our wine tasting. It's our wine and a course. It's 4 wines, 1 dish, $25. That also is a no-brainer. It's great. And you can also buy wine from us. And most of the wine that you buy is going to range between, I think, like $12.99 and $14.99 a bottle. We try to keep everything priced as they do in retail stores, so you can save a trip going to the retail store. So we have tons and tons and tons of wines here. You can just see we've stacked up the dining room. We have a lot more in our wine cellar as well and on our racks, but we're basically floor stacking tons of wine here. We got a new Pinot Grigio in the other day that is dynamite, and it's from, I'm not typically a big Pinot Grigio fan, but I got to tell you, Canteen Pandora, they're on our list too for Southern Italy. They're from Puglia. This Pinot Grigio is amazing. I actually drank some of it this weekend. When we first came in on Friday, I had a glass of it or so. Really great from Puglia. Canteen Pandora is the name of it. So if you are not a fan of Pinot Grigio because it's too light or something, come try this. We'll give you a taste of it. We really don't have any more wine from this vineyard, so it's hard for us to do a wine theme around them, but we're going to try to include them somehow. But we will be going to see them in Italy. Great vineyard. We know the importer very well on that, and we know the wine broker from Italy very well on that. So we're very excited to be working with them as well, Canteen Pandora. So that's it, folks, for now. I'm going to go on a bike ride here in a few minutes as soon as I get another couple things done. And thanks, folks, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Jamie will be back today at 4 o'clock with her happy hour live. If you have any suggestions for her on a drink, any requests, go ahead and drop a comment here. And I'm sure she'll be happy to take a look in. She's always looking to add for suggestions. Let's face it, if she made a margarita every Monday, people would probably love it. We have lots of different flavors of margaritas here. So you can drop a suggestion of things to make. We just got a couple new products in last week. Really, really interesting. Let me talk about this really quick. So potatoes are a storage crop, and right now you'll see a lot of farms that will have signs that say new potatoes. New potatoes means that they're just now harvested, they're brand new. Potatoes can get stored for almost a year. As far as storage. So 1857 is a local, they're from Scolari County, up by Albany. I've been up there. That's potato country. So 1857, it's their own potatoes from their farm from 1857. And they make, it's all a state-grown potato vodka. And here's the cool thing. With the bottle down here. They make what's called a spring. So this is a spring potato, which means it's been in storage from the fall into the spring. They also make a summer, which we did not buy. They make a summer one, which has different little writing on there. And it's the same potatoes, same farm, same distillation, but these potatoes are from the spring, and the potatoes from the summer, which have 3 more months on them, are then made, and the vodka is made side by side. And when you taste them, 2 totally different vodka profiles. It was really interesting. We fell in love with the spring. I wasn't too hip on their summer one. I thought it was a little more aggressive in flavor, a little more pronounced, but this one was really nice. So That's something really cool. So the word new potato, when you see the word new potato, that means those are freshly harvested potatoes. They've barely had time to be in storage. There's a couple of the other things that we're selling. The small batch bourbon, which is awesome, Mr. Peabody, for 25 bucks. The bourbon, and we sell the rye. These have flown off the shelf since COVID happened. These 6 and 20s. That is a rum and whiskey cream from the Carolinas. This vodka, apricot and the fig from Black Infusions, is amazing. Michael Davidson, the owner, did a tasting with us, a virtual tasting in the beginning. We're also going to do an event with him. He's going to come down from Boston and do an event with us here, I think in September. Jamie's been working on the details with him on that, so that's really cool. From up in Wallachia, New York, near Hudson, comes Core Distilling, Hudson Valley, Derek. He makes some really great products. Again, from All Estate. He's known for his Applejack. He makes a peach one. He makes his cherry one. He makes a raspberry vodka. He makes a regular vodka. Makes a gin, which is really, really good. Copper Can. These are Moscow Mules. These are really, really popular and awesome. Turmeric sodas, non-alcoholic. That's a local company making a soda infused with turmeric. Really, really cool stuff. So we've got a bunch of stuff here on the shelves. All the wines here, almost every single winery here is wineries that we've actually been to and personally visited and know the owners and have had a great time there. This is not one of them. That's our $9.99 French Chardonnay. $9.99 to go, $19.99 in-house. Val d'Opes, really amazing vineyard in Mondstadt in the mountains just south of Barcelona that Jamie and I were at a year and a half ago. This was the winery that, if you ever hear me talk about going up a 5-kilometer one-lane road up on top of the mountain, and then if it rains, you got to get off the mountain. That's that vineyard. I'm sorry, that's not Val d'Opes. Val d'Opes was another vineyard near there. We have the other one as well here. Sorry, I got confused right here. That's the vineyard that's on top of the mountain, that Dominic, that you have to get off the mountain. And they're neighbors, basically. It wasn't a far ride from each vineyard. This is in Mondstadt near Pierrot, south of Barcelona. Really cool stuff. Chulio de Peza, this is another winery that we're going to visit. This is a Primitivo from Salento, down near Manduria, that area. Of course, Vitiano, which is from Falesco, we've been there many times. Ugarte, that is the hotel, that's the winery in Ugarte. Botromagno, which is what we're doing tonight. Fulkerson, local, more Val d'Opes. So if you have not seen this, because the restaurant really hasn't been open inside, we've been pouring this wine for a couple of years. This is the Ugarte. This is from Spain, and there we go. That's the backside. See the tower there on the top? That's the backside of the tower. That's where we stayed in Spain when we went to Rioja. That's an amazing, amazing vineyard and hotel. Really, really awesome. We spent 3 nights there in that area. And we've been pouring this wine for a couple years here by the glass. It's a great, great Rioja. So there's a picture of Matera where we're going through this spring. Spring, April. That's Matera, Italy's rock city. So, and then if you were on our last trip to Tuscany, Rome to Florence, that was where we stayed, a 16th century Medici estate, Malanchini, the Liliano estate that overlooks Florence. You wake up looking at the Duomo in Florence. That was a really great experience. Jamie and I have been to this vineyard several times. And Violetta, the owner, was here in January. So that was exciting. She was here in January. Of course, the Reggiano. Here's another picture. If you were on our last trip, this is the vineyard from Alto Rocca Wine Resort. Alto Rocca Wine Resort was another amazing place to stay. So if you ever want to go on a trip with us, and there's a couple people that are online here that have been on trips with us that I see. If you ever want to go on a trip with us, a lot of things we really stress is, of course, great wine, great food, but it's the hotels. The hotels really make the difference, and we try to pick out. We have a formula. The bigger the bathroom, the better. is the first formula in picking a hotel room, right? But then you have the location, square footage of the hotel, the amenities, and then the location is important, because if you're inside city walls, medieval city walls, you don't typically have enough space to have big hotel rooms. So if you're in a city, you have to settle for a smaller room, smaller square footage, but you still have to pick hotels that have great bathrooms. And if you travel to Europe, especially to Italy, and you basically go on one of those apps like Hotel Tonight and get a cheap hotel or whatever, you get a cheap hotel, some of these European bathrooms are so small and uncomfortable that Jamie and I have stayed in these too many times, that the shower, you have to pull the shower, and it's a box, and somebody like me has to wedge in to one of these showers, and it's like, this is uncomfortable. So we really focus. And Alto Rocco Wine Resort we had never been to. The Malanchini estate we've been to. The Guiliano estate we've been to. But we've never been to like Alto Rocco Wine Resort. So we had our contact, he actually went there, our ground contact there, Diego. He went there and took pictures of the rooms. And he goes, Marcus, he goes, the rooms aren't all the same. And I said, that's perfectly fine. I don't care if the rooms are all the same. But we need big bathrooms, we need square footage. And so when we started working with him, and a couple of hotels that we didn't know, we got the specs back. I'm like, upgrade it. And he's like, upgrade. I'm like, upgrade it. We need bigger rooms. We need bigger rooms. We need bathrooms. And in this place here, this place was the bathrooms in here. If anybody's on right now that stayed with us in the Malanchini estate with Dialetta at the Guiliano estate in Florence, I mean, the bathrooms were, I don't know, 20 feet long. It was like wow, like mind-blowing, really huge bathrooms, and they were villas, and they were great. There were some steps in some people's villas that you got there and you had to walk up this flight of steps, but once you were in your room, you were like, wow, this is awesome. So the villas there are awesome. The good news is, even if you never travel with us, with Jamie and I, on any of our winery excursions, if you're in Italy and you need to get a winery somewhere or a hotel, we can literally help you plan your trip or make recommendations. If you're like, we'll be in this part of Italy, we'll totally help you. We'll totally help you do that. If you've already booked to go somewhere in Italy, and you've taken your family, like 10 people or 20 people, which we've worked and made suggestions and help people do this. If you're like, well, I already booked tickets, Marcus, it was 15 of us going in my family, we can totally like plan your itinerary. We can get you a coach bus. We can do a lot of things. We can get you vintage Fiat tours, even if it's 2 or 4 of you. We can get you vintage Fiat tours, drive the countryside and vintage Fiats in Tuscany. We can truffle hunts. We can send you to wineries. We've sent people to wineries in Slovenia that have come back and said, wow, that winery was mind-blowing. This is great stuff. So if we buy wine from these vineyards, we know we have a relationship with them. We can easily suggest you go see these places, and we can make calls for you ahead of time, which will help out a lot. But if you like wanted us to plan, like, hey, like we're like 10 of us, 8 of us, 6 of us, we can plan everything for you. Literally plan everything for you, or as little as you want. So even if you book tickets and you're going, that's easy for us to do. So keep that in mind ever. If anybody ever wants to plan a trip for a fundraiser, we have a fundraiser package too. If you go to VIPwineryvacations.com, VIPwineryvacations.com, there's a place there for nonprofits. We do a great nonprofit program where we donate money back. We donate a portion of the profits back of the trip. The nonprofit would then use your list and advertise your list, and we'd help you with all that. And we literally can donate $10,000 back to your nonprofit charity from that. So that's the good news on that as well. Folks, I have a delivery of wine walking in the door right now. The Botramagno wines are here for tonight's wine event. All those wines are here. Plus, if you did not get enough of the Salice Salentino wine last week from Cantale, that is here. That is back in stock. That's walking in the door right now. We got several cases of that coming in. $14.99. This wine is dynamite, this red wine. Like, like superb. It's amazing. One more thing, just so people know the law. New York State does not actively have a corkage, bring your own BYOB program. This is the confusing part, because if you were to call the liquor authority right now and say, "Oh, can I do BYOB in restaurants?" The person answering the phone might say, "Yeah, you can do BYOB," but when you're talking to a prosecuting attorney or an inspector that works for the state liquor authority, and they're looking through their guide, and it says in their guide, when they go into a restaurant to inspect, that they're only allowed to have on-premise wines, spirits that they've bought from a licensed distributor. It's different than calling and getting an answer. So this is part of the problem with all these agencies, is they don't communicate properly, and you can speak to an inspector versus a person answering the phone, to a person basically who wrote the law or whatever, or is interpreting the law. But basically, New York State, they don't like BYOB if you're talking to an inspector or a prosecuting attorney for the state liquor authority. They do not like that at all, the BYOB concept. So a lot of restaurants do avoid it altogether. They don't charge corkage fees. And if we were to charge a corkage fee, we'd admit that we were doing that. So we haven't then done that for years upon years here, like 17 years. We haven't allowed you to bring anything in. So somebody tried to bring in something the other day, and people try every other week or so to bring a bottle or so in. So how's it going? Good. You can drop right here, and I'll be right with you. Okay. That's the wine coming in now. So I got to go, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I see a few people that are coming tonight, so we'll see you tonight. And then we'll announce the next wine event that's going to be happening in 2 more weeks for more Southern Italian wine. And then stay tuned, because we're going to start mixing in Sicilian wine as well, because Sicily is on our radar for another VIP trip. So, all right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you later.